Oric Consulting presents the Oracle Podcast with Anton Marshall. Hello and welcome to the Oracle Podcast. My name is Anton Marshall. Today we're talking to Mogens Petersen, who is the Senior Advisor at Global Ports Group out of Moscow in the Russian Federation. Just to advise that at times our line wasn't as it should be, so we apologize in advance for the quality for some parts of the podcast. Nonetheless, we hope you enjoy it. I started off by asking Mogens about his background and some of the interesting projects that he'd been involved in up to this point.
My background is with very large investments in the infrastructure industries. I have worked 12 years in energy business in Denmark. And after that, I've worked 8 years in the ports industry. So what I have dealt with in my whole career has been very long-term focused businesses with long-term strategies and very large investments in energy infrastructure and ports infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And this is also what I do here in Russia. I'm in a company that builds and operates container ports. So, just to set the scene, that's the type of business I come from. So, with that in mind, when you go into a large investment in our industries, a port. Of course, you have a different kind of challenge than you have in a small, medium industry where you open a shop or you open a smaller manufacturing business. What you do here is you base your investment on usually on agreements with governments, and you have an aligned view on what this business should become with governments or with state or regional authorities. So that of course is different. We are operating in a market, but still, in order to be able to move ahead with investing in these types of things, you need to be aligned with different types of authorities and have licenses and all kinds of agreements in place first. The parallel to all that, I guess, in small, medium enterprises is that you need to have a clear view on what it is that you're planning to do. I mean, strategy in a small enterprise, you need a view on what this business can become, how it fits into the market, and then you plan ahead from that. And then when you zoom into the finance area from all that, what is it that you need to be able to do generally? And I think it really boils down to having a clear view on where you're going with your business, what kind of finance support system and structure and organization will you need on the longer term for that business, and then it's really about being ahead of the game. So, and taking that one step further, it's about seeing the end state, or at least the long-term state of what your finance organization has to look like, and then really starting to build that up as early as possible.
You work specifically in ports, and I would imagine that those types of enterprises not only have sort of local or regional considerations, but global ones as well. What are some of the things that you've seen in respect of where such enterprises are going globally? People say that the world is becoming smaller, but at the same time, regionally and geographically, there are various challenges that are always coming up.
I think indeed this is becoming a lot more of a globalized type of industry, where if you look at at the port industry, say 15, 20 years ago, this was the normal setup that you had a national, even city by city port operators, of which many were coming out of the public sector. Mm-hmm. And the typical setup was that this was infrastructure coming out of the public sector. It was not really a main objective to be super efficient towards customers, but you were sort of setting a gateway to the country or to the region. It sort of had to be there. What I said over the last 15 to 20 years is that this has become an industry with global players that have gone into all these individual countries and offered a service of operating previously publicly owned ports, and some of them also private. But you could operate them according to global efficiency standards. And then what actually happens with that is that it's a win-win. The company comes in and performs a service against a contract of a certain setup of fees to the customers. The country or the region or the city experiences that this eases the access to the country's markets. I've worked for many years in a company called APMM Terminals. They have as a tagline in their brand saying, "We are lifting global trade," mm-hmm. which is really what this is about, because you come in as an operator. You operate on behalf of the state or on behalf of the city, and thereby you make money for yourself, of course, as an operator, mm-hmm. but you also make it easy to do business in that area. You really lift the efficiency, which basically can lift a whole city or a whole region or a whole country. So this is important for me. Actually, I think this industry is doing a really, really important job, a really important function in the countries that we go into.
But something you said did pique my interest there. I was wondering to what degree regional organizations, like in our case, we'd have the African Union or perhaps the European Union or whatever that might be. To what degree policies that they might have impacts on your type of work and your goals and achievements?
On the question of regional organizations, I'd say it impacts us in different ways. The EU, as an example, has different programs in place to actually support what we do financially. There's something called Trans-European networks, which across the different industries, including both energy and road transport and port infrastructure. So we have a couple of examples of having received financial what we do actually, and obviously the interest of European Union is about tying European countries together more efficiently than they already are. So we have a number of examples of having received funding from IFC to build our ports. That goes into, I can give you examples in, we have recently done a project in Peru as APMM Terminals. We have done a large project in Brazil as in Santos, Brazil, where IFC was also funding. And then in different policies on infrastructure, these organizations are typically active in supporting us, different kinds of policies, but also with funding, because infrastructure is such an important piece of making an economy work. So access to markets, both import and exports, in for instance, African countries, is something that really takes off these years.
Okay.
I've been involved in projects all along the west coast of Africa, in Monrovia, in Ivory Coast, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Angola, and I can mention many more. But it's really an important thing that happens these years, and it really makes a difference in those countries that you install an efficient port setup. It gives access to markets.
Putting that all together, and in terms of what we're saying about all that, what types of industries or role players benefit most from efficiently functioning ports and authorities? And I'm talking here sort of on a national economy level, perhaps.
I don't know if there is a general answer to that. Really, it depends on what the country is doing in terms of trade. I mean, in East Coast Africa, as an example, this is probably a lot about bringing locally manufactured agriculture products out of the country and bringing more developed industrial products into the country. Just as an example. So in that example, it really depends on where is the country's competitive advantage, or what you can call it. What is it that you sell, and what is it that you are in the market to buy? But generally, whatever it is that you buy and sell, you need to bring some stuff out of your country and some things back in, because you want to be part of this global exchange of goods, and really deliver what you are good at, and bring in what you are not so good at, to the benefit of everybody.
Fantastic. Mr. Mogens Petersen, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're a very busy man, and I really appreciate some of your insights into how ports generally fit into the global superstructure of trade and commerce. Once again, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Oracle podcast, brought to you by Ore Consulting, www.oreconsulting.co.za.